So, hello. My name is Rashida, and my husband and I own a bakery in, let's see, we're in Pennsylvania. It is called Lily of the Valley Cupcakery. And to tell you a little bit about our story, I worked for a job for 20 years, and my husband more so was a I don't guess I want to call it a handyman, worker, whatever you want to call it. One of the two. But nevertheless, we are the owners of Lily Valley Cupcakery, located in Pennsylvania. And the reason I guess I'm on here is because I've been being still for a very long time, and today is the day that I guess the Lord told me to go and do a YouTube and share our journey, because we believe that anything that we share, the seeds that we sow will grow. So a little bit about what's going on right now is I worked for a job 20 years. My husband was like I'm not going to say stay-home dad, but Mr. Mom, but he worked for a job too. He made good money. He got laid off, and then he kind of never went back to work because I had the more stable job. And he, because we have a child that has sickle cell disease, basically took the role of mom and stayed home and took care of the kids while I worked for 20 years. To look at us, if you're traditional, some people may not agree with it. I got a lot of, flack, I guess, from my family. My mom, rest her soul, and they never really agreed with how our, I guess you want to say family, how our makeup was. But I had to keep telling myself that, I can never worry about what everybody else think, and this is what worked best for us. In saying that, I guess maybe a couple years ago, I was supposed to get laid off from my job. My passion has always been to bake. I used to bake for my job, ironically out of a box. And then I basically studied the internet for a very long time. Very long time. I had no desire to go to culinary school, but I studied the internet for a very long time and learned how to bake, and came up basically with all the recipes for our bakery. When I was about to get laid off from a job, my husband, I would bake out of the house. So once I learned the internet and, studied the recipes and learned new recipes on the internet and basically made them my own, I started baking on my house and doing a lot of events for the job. And then it became overwhelming in my kitchen because my kitchen is not very big. So my husband was like, okay, we can't do this no more. You have to get a space. So he did. He got me a little building, about 500 square feet. That was our first location. And we worked out of there. In the process of getting this building and started in this building, my mother actually got sick, and she got cancer. She passed away about 4 years ago, and she never really got to see my vision and my dream, for the business, because I knew that I was not going to open that business until she passed away. When I say that, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because people say, while I was going through the process, like I said, no, I'm not going to open a business until my mom passed away, because for me, this may sound harsh to other people, but God, through me praying, He told me that I had to spend all the time that I could with her, because, her time was very limited. And I did. And she did pass away. And I truly believe that, she did, because that my mom was like the ultimate sacrifice for me getting and for me and where I am today, as far as with the business and everything else, because I truly believe that had she not passed away, then I know that I would never have pursued my dream of opening my own business. So, husband got the first building. I was supposed to get laid off from my job, and I didn't get laid off, so I had to teach him. He ran that business for maybe about 2 years by himself. I basically worked on the weekends, but I worked on the weekends, but he worked, all during the week. I told him to bake, and I ain't even gonna lie, because at some point, sometimes I used to say, okay, I'm working and you running the business. It was my vision and my dream, but then I had to realize that we're a team and we're in this together. So 2 years went by, the business was doing good, but it was a really small business, and small building, and we kind of grew out of that building. And then we got, opportunity to go to a bigger location. And we did that, we prayed about it, and, God is good, because one thing I can say is that the building that we went to second, I was over in the area at a store and getting something to eat, and I called my husband and I said, hey, this building is for rent, and I said, calling to see how much the rent is, and my husband said, nope, it was meant for us to be there, we'll be there. Lo and behold, I want to say about 3 days later, the person who owned the property actually called us and asked us, we're happy where we were at, and he wanted us to come, to his building and put our bakery there. So we did that. So we probably was there maybe about 2 years. I want to say about 2 years, maybe half a year it took us to renovate the building. Nevertheless, I do believe that everything that happens to you in life, there is a reason and a season for it. So where we are today, we no longer have that building. We've decided that I'm not going to say we didn't do our research, but I don't know if I want to say the foot traffic and the rent didn't match, or I don't know, whatever it is. I just think that we really just didn't do our, research, with the area and location. And rule of thumb, one thing that I did learn with owning a business, and also with having a baking business, that number one, location is key. You definitely have to have low overhead, because one thing about being a baker and selling pastries and cakes is that it is it's something that has to be a want. It's not a necessity, and it's a little bit harder to sell your wants opposed to your necessities, or something that you really, really need, and you have to really, really work hard at it. So that's what I did learn. So and me being still in the process of, I went through my bitter, oh my God, I'm not going to have a business, and blah, blah, blah. But then then God said, you just got to let it go. So that's what we did. We let that building go. We let that building go without even having a building. Not even having a building, not going into a building. So in the process of us leaving that building, we've had one building fall through, which we thought was a definite, and then we have gotten one other opportunity, which we're still praying about. One building we signed a lease on, and another person contacted us about another location. So here we are. We go from our only location, to closing that location, to not having a location at all, to having one location and 2 business opportunities, to where we're currently at now. one business opportunity is still on the table because that's going to come down the road. The one lease that we did sign, oh man, oh, the computer cut off. One lease that we did sign actually fell through the other day, and the building that we saw today wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So where we're at now is we're just back at the drawing board looking for another building. And the reason that I'm sharing this video is because I'm going to be doing, my husband and I, a series of videos on, and I don't know if it's meant to bless someone. I believe that everything that we do, you know, we're sowing our seeds, and in every location that, because our first location we met a lot of people, our second location we met a lot of people, a lot of great people too, but I truly believe that God only had us at those two locations for a season, and we were to sow our seeds. And now, you know, from those seeds we just have to now watch them grow. You know, a lady came in on our last day and was like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm sorry, you know, you guys are leaving. And I said, I'm not. I said, I'm actually excited for what God has for me next, you know, not knowing, you know, what the next chapter of my life is going to be, but I do know the season that I'm coming out of, that we were in, are all lessons to be learned. And you know, it's taught me to look at things and to sit back and process things before I just decide to say, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, we're going to do this. And I have options this time around, and we have options this time around, my husband and I, with the business, and we're not jumping into things, we're just taking it slow and being still, you know, where we are right now, and not rushing into things. It's kind of weird because I would say to myself, it's kind of scary because, you know, we hustled hard for these last 5 years in the business, and now we're just sitting not doing anything. And I'm not going to say we're not doing anything, but it's like I'm just sitting here. And the Lord is telling me that you have to be still, and get into His presence. Like, I have to get into God's presence, and I have to sit still, and I have to listen to what He's saying to me. You know, the location where the lease fell through on, I truly believe that God blocked it. And He blocked it because we weren't 100% sure about this location. But we, you know, we took a chance, we signed a lease on it, and we were just going to make it, you know, our own. But, you know, and then we were going to keep the two locations, but God blocked that. He shut that down. And I'm not even sure if He shut down the second location of, you know, where we went today. But me being an introvert, and I'm really a private person, I don't let people in, but God told me that I'm to share my story and my journey while I'm in it. Because while I'm in it, we, you know, we don't have a building, we don't have, you know, location, and we just praying and waiting for, you know, to see what God has for us next. And you know, my husband and I were being very, very still. But the weeks leading up to us leaving our last location, what I did get was, you have to spend time with your kids. And I don't know where that came from, because with the business, anybody who owns a business, you know that it's hard. You know, your family life is crazy. You don't have time for each other. So one thing that I got being still and listening to God was spend time with your kids. We have a 15-year-old, so we have to spend time with her. And again, like I said, we have a son that has sickle cell disease. You know, in the process of it all, he went away to school. He came back home because he got sick. Had to figure him out. We have a little 1 and 9-year-old who we drag through the streets with us because, you know, she's one of them kids. She stayed in a bakery with us all the time. And another thing that I got that I have to rebuild. I'm not gonna say rebuild my relationship with my husband, but I don't know if there's any entrepreneurs out there. But if you have a business and you work with your husband, you know, your marriage becomes into like a business, I guess I want to say a business relationship. Whereas though it's kind of like everything we did in a marriage, it kind of falls apart because all we do is, you know, talk about the business. We don't talk about family. We don't talk about kids. Is, you know, talk about the business. So, you know, when a lady came in the store on the last day, she said, "Well, how long you gonna close?" I said, 30 days. She said, "How long you gonna be closed?" I said, 30. I don't even know where that 30 days came from, but that was nothing but God saying you had to take off 30 days. And it's so weird because what I said to my husband today when we came back from that building, I was like, I'm sitting here and I don't have nothing to do. It's driving me crazy. I'm so bored. But then, you know, I always go back to God saying, be still, and wait to see what I have for you next, what the next journey of your life will be. So in saying this, and it'll be my last thought. Here's my shirt. My shirt says, I could give up on cupcakes, but I'm not a quitter. So I'm not going to quit, regardless of how hard it gets. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. This is my business. This is my journey. And I'm going to share it with you guys while I'm in it. So you guys get to see everything that my husband and I are doing. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. We're going to share them with you. One thing, you know, what I'm going to title my YouTube is definitely going to be called, these are going to be my diaries. It's going to be called Diaries of a Cupcake Baker. And basically I'm just going to share what we're going through. I don't know if it's meant to bless somebody. It may bless somebody. It may not bless somebody. But I'm just doing what the Lord told me to do. And it's quite interesting. I don't know. Guess I'm excited about the journey that God has me on. But thank you guys for listening. Again, Diaries of a Cupcake Bakery. This one is Diary 3/2018. My first diary entry of Diary of a Cupcake Baker, and we'll see. Sowing these seeds, and I can say that I have nothing left but to watch them grow. Thank you, and until next time.